Hi everyone, I'm back. We're going to make a project here, and this one is going to feature the Birds and Branches stamp set. This is on page 120 in your catalog. So here you can see the nest. You get a bird that faces each direction. They're a little bit different, so they're not a mirror image. That's nice. You get two different birds here with the background image, so you can stamp one color for the whole bird, another color for kind of the highlights, the wing, we have feet, we have branches, leaves, flowers, heart, eggs. There's all sorts of things here that you can use on these cards. There is a coordinating die set, but for this card tonight, we are not going to use that. I wanted to show you how to use this set in a way that you can make it pretty simply and easily without those dies, but still make it look like a little scene with things in front of and behind other things. So let me show you what we need. We need a pretty peacock card base, and we need a piece of white cardstock that measures 2.5 by 4, a piece of crumb cake that we will mat behind the white, 2 3/4 inches by 4 1/4. And then this is some of our new trim. The name of this pack has left me right now. I think this is our Just Jade color, but I thought it blended nicely with the peacock and the pool party that we're going to use here. So we will be using that. So the first thing I want to stamp onto this card is that nest. I want to get it right in the middle where I want it. Or I guess it's not in the middle, but I want to get it where I want it. So I'm using crumb cake here, and I'm going to put it over towards the left and towards the bottom, right about there. Now the next thing I want to add in, next things, are the branches. So here is the branch stamp I am going to use, and I want to make it look like the branches are behind the nest. So how I'm going to do that is I am going to ink just a part of this stamp. Then on that part where that ink starts, that's the part that is going to come out from behind the nest right here. So I'm going to do that once. This time I'll ink just a touch farther down, and I want to put that one down here. Now I'm going to clean off my stamp very quickly with my chamois, my absolute favorite stamp cleaning tool. It just sucks the ink right off of that stamp. And now I want to ink the base of the branch, and I'm going to put some of them over here sticking out on this side. So I'll ink this end of it and have that going into the nest over on this side, and I'm going to clean that off, ink it back a little bit farther where it is wider, and have that going in as well. So there you can see our nest sitting on some branches. Now let's add some leaves. This is Granny Apple Green, such a fun bright color. And I missed getting some of that inked. Okay, so we'll line this up, we'll stamp there. I'll line it up with this other branch, stamp there. And I wanted a few leaves back here on this side too, so it doesn't really line up, but I'm just going to stamp a few there as well. So as you can see, our little scene is coming together. Next, let's do that bird. And I used Pool Party for the entire bird. So I will ink that entire thing on the Pool Party and sit the little birdie in here right on top of that nest. Now I am going to use, what do I have here? smoky slate for the other bird stamp that overlays on that. So try and get this guy lined up. I have a feeling I'm going to fail right now. There we go. Not a fail. Not bad. So there's the bird on top, and I want to stamp its little wing with Pretty Peacock. So here's the wing. We'll ink it up and lay it right on there. Stamp. I thought that looked pretty with the pool party. Now I want to add a little, oh, I have flying markers. Add a little eyeball with my Pretty Peacock marker. I wanted to color in the beak with my pumpkin pie. And if I wanted to, oh no, I forgot the eggs. I almost forgot the eggs. I was ready to move on into the embossing. We cannot forget the eggs. Mama bird has no purpose in life if she's just sitting there on an empty nest. Okay, so on these eggs, the first one, I'm going to keep this over here so that the 2 eggs on the right are not getting any ink at all. That's important, because if you get ink on those eggs and then you stamp, it is going to end up on your card, whether you like it or not. So I want a little bit more. Okay, so I inked just the top half of that egg, and I'm going to stamp it right here. And then I'm going to do that again. I'm going to turn the egg sideways a little, and now the ink line is kind of at an angle. And I'm going to stick this one there, sticking out of the nest a little more so he pops up some. All right, I think our scene is built now. And if you wanted to, you could use this card just like that. So I wanted to show that because a lot of times we get caught thinking like, well, how am I going to use this set if I don't have those dies? And this is an easy way to do that, to make it look layered without cutting all these pieces out. So if you want, you can finish it just like that. I am going to show you how to do the embossing here. This is my absolute favorite new embossing folder. I don't have the name in front of me. I think it is called Timeless. Oh, the name left me. Somebody down is going to comment, I think, and is it it's textiles, something textiles. So I am going to put this inside of my Timeless Textiles embossing folder. I cannot wait for our new machine to come here soon. So we'll open this up. It's nice and stuck in there. And it has that pretty texture. So now I'm going to say what I said again. You could use it just like this, or you can go one step further. I had done this on, I forgot to show these earlier. So this is a card I made with our new Blossoms in Bloom set, 2 cards that I made. I have a video on this. This is my most watched video of recent history. But you can see the difference between this card that I did not emboss, but I sponged around the edges with crumb cake, and this one that I embossed with this embossing folder and then sponged the edges with crumb cake. And I just think that is an amazing effect. So we're going to copycat it and get some crumb cake ink on a sponge and just lightly with a circular motion go around the edges. My child was critiquing me and my sponging earlier. She says, that one's lighter in the middle than the other one. So hopefully you don't have any sassy 6-year-olds around to critique your sponging, because nobody needs that, right? Okay, so we just added some crumb cake lightly around the edges. I really like how that looks. Of course, you could do it a little bit more simply if you want to. Now, I'll bring the sample back in. You can see this ribbon wraps around behind these pieces. So, I have a strip of that ribbon here, and the way I am going to put this on is maybe different than some of you. What I'm going to stick one end onto a glue dot. Actually, I'm going to stick both ends onto glue dots. We'll pick up one on each end. And I am going to stick that on right here. Wrap it around. Bring it back. Bring it back. And stick it out. Try and make that level. Now, you say, well, there's a bow there. Yes, there is a bow there. And this is kind of a handy way to make it, to get a nice looking bow if you don't feel real comfortable tying those bows while you're trying to hold this whole ribbon steady and not let anything move and all that. So I have this piece on. I will go ahead and attach the crumb cake on top. I am going to slather that thing with the snail. Our new adhesive is supposed to be awesomer. I can't wait. It's supposed to be stronger than the snail. The snail does not always hold in tough situations. So, okay. So there's our bird, the focal point of this whole thing. Now I already have this bow tied. Stick it onto one last glue dot. Attach it right here. I also like this because it can cover up some of this, and you can get it exactly where you want. Now this Thanks a Bunch stamp is from our Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set. I am going to ink it with the peacock ink and stamp it right here. All right, so there is our finished card using the Birds and Branches stamp set and this new textiles embossing folder that's so pretty. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining in, and I'll be back soon.